In a small, remote village nestled among the rolling hills, there lived a young woman named Kemi. Kemi was the daughter of the village blacksmith, Adebayo, a man known for his strong arms and gentle heart. Despite her father's esteemed position and the love he showered upon her, Kemi was rejected by the villagers due to a peculiar and unfortunate condition. She emitted a strong and persistent body odor that no remedy could cure. From a young age, Kemi faced the cruel whispers and turned backs of her fellow villagers. Children would run away from her, and adults would avoid standing too close. This ostracism weighed heavily on both Kemi and her father. Adebayo, desperate to help his beloved daughter lead a normal life, began to research and seek advice from far and wide. One day, Adebayo heard of an ancient belief that suggested circumcision could rid a person of certain persistent ailments, including foul body odor. Though it was a drastic measure, Adebayo's love for Kemi pushed him to consider undergoing the procedure himself, in a bid to break the curse he believed might be affecting his family. With determination and hope, he planned to take this bold step, praying that it would finally bring Kemi the acceptance and peace she deserved. A week passed after Adebayo made the momentous decision to undergo circumcision, hoping it would lift the burden of the persistent odor that plagued his daughter, Kemi. The village was abuzz with anticipation, as such ceremonies were rare and significant. Adebayo, ever the devoted father, decided to host a grand celebration to mark the occasion and to show his unwavering support for Kemi. The day of the ceremony arrived, and the village square was adorned with colorful decorations. Long tables were set with an array of traditional foods, and large barrels of homemade palm wine were positioned at the corners of the square. Villagers gathered, dressed in their finest clothes, eager to partake in the festivities. The air was filled with the rhythmic beats of drums and the melodic tunes of flutes, creating an atmosphere of joy and excitement. As the sun began to set, the villagers formed a large circle outside Adebayo's house, dancing and singing in unison. The men took turns performing traditional dances, their movements strong and graceful, while the women clapped and swayed to the music. Laughter echoed through the night as everyone indulged in the celebratory drinks, the potent palm wine adding to the merriment. Inside the house, Kemi sat by the window, her heart heavy with mixed emotions. She watched the villagers dance, their faces glowing with happiness. Despite the years of rejection, a part of her yearned to join them, to feel the warmth of acceptance, even if only for a moment. She knew the celebration was for her father, but deep down, she wished it could also be for her. Summoning all her courage, Kemi decided to step out and join the dancing ground. She slowly opened the door and walked towards the circle of dancers, her heart pounding with both fear and hope. The villagers, caught up in their revelry, initially did not notice her approach. However, as she stepped closer, the familiar odor reached their senses, and one by one, they stopped dancing, their faces reflecting discomfort and disapproval. "Kemi, please," one of the elders spoke gently but firmly, "you cannot join us here." Kemi's heart sank as the reality of their rejection hit her once again. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she held her head high, turning away from the crowd. As the night deepened and the celebration outside continued, the sense of anticipation filled the air. All eyes turned towards the path leading into the village when a figure emerged from the shadows. It was the renowned Monoid circumciser, known far and wide for her skill and wisdom in performing sacred rituals. Her name was Ayanf, and she carried with her an aura of mystique and authority. Ayanf, with her single piercing eye that seemed to see into the very soul, approached Adebayo's house. The villagers whispered among themselves, awed by her presence and curious about the outcome of the ceremony. Ayanf was a woman of few words but great presence, and her arrival signaled the commencement of the significant event. Adebayo stepped forward to greet Ayanf, his heart filled with hope and trepidation. He explained the situation to her, emphasizing his love for Kemi and his desire to rid her of the odor that had caused her so much pain. Ayanf listened intently, her eye never leaving Adebayo's face. When he finished, she nodded solemnly and followed him into the house where Kemi awaited. As Ayanf entered, the strong smell of Kemi's body odor immediately hit her. She paused, her face momentarily contorting in response to the overwhelming scent. Kemi, sitting by the window, looked up with a mixture of fear and hope in her eyes. Ayanf approached her, trying to mask her discomfort, and began to examine her carefully. Kemi, Ayanf said softly, I understand your father's wish and your plight. But I must be truthful in my actions. She continued her examination, but the smell grew more intense as she came closer to Kemi. Ayanf's expression turned from one of professional detachment to visible distress. She stepped back, shaking her head slowly, the weight of her decision evident on her face. Adebayo, she said, turning to him, I cannot perform the circumcision on your daughter. The odor is too strong, and it is not something that circumcision can cure. This is beyond my capability and the rituals I perform. Kemi's heart sank further at Ayanf's words. She had hoped that this ceremony might bring an end to her suffering. Adebayo, though deeply disappointed, respected Ayanf's honesty and expertise. Thank you, Ayanf, for your time and your honesty, Adebayo said, his voice heavy with emotion. We will continue to seek another way. Ayanf nodded and left the house, her departure marking the end of the villagers' hopes for a miraculous solution that night. The festivities outside continued, but the atmosphere was subdued, as the news of Ayanf's refusal spread. As the festivities outside continued with a more subdued energy, Kemi remained by the window, her thoughts heavy with despair and resignation. Just then, the door to the room creaked open, and a young man stepped inside. Kemi looked up, startled, and a wave of shame washed over her. She recognized the man as Olamide, a kind-hearted farmer from the village who had always been polite to her, but she never dared to believe he could see her as more than a source of pity. Olamide smiled gently as he approached, his eyes filled with kindness. Kemi, he said softly, may I sit with you? Kemi nodded, trying to hide her embarrassment. She was acutely aware of her odor and feared it would drive him away, like everyone else. Olamide, however, seemed unfazed as he pulled a chair close and sat down. I saw what happened tonight, he began, his voice gentle but firm. I saw how you were treated, and it broke my heart. I need you to know something, Kemi. Your odor does not define you. It is not who you are. You are strong, kind, and beautiful in ways that matter most. Kemi's eyes welled up with tears, a mix of disbelief and gratitude. But how can you say that, Olamide? How can you bear to be near me when everyone else turns away? Olamide reached out and took her hand in his touch warm and reassuring. Kemi, I've admired you for a long time. Your strength, your resilience, and your kindness have always shone through, despite everything. I care for you deeply, and I cannot stand to see you suffer like this. Kemi's heart raced as she listened to his words, hope beginning to flicker in her chest. But what can we do? The circumcision didn't work, and I'm afraid nothing will. Olamide squeezed her hand gently. I have an idea. My mother is known for her knowledge of traditional healing. She has helped many people with conditions that seemed incurable. I believe she can help you too. Come with me to my home, and let my mother see what she can do. We will find a solution together. Tears of gratitude flowed freely down Kemi's cheeks. Olamide, are you sure? This is a lot to ask of you and your family. Olamide smiled warmly, his eyes shining with determination. I am sure, Kemi. I love you, and I want to see you happy and accepted. We will face this challenge together as partners. You are not alone in this. Kemi felt a surge of hope and relief wash over her. For the first time in a long while, she felt a glimmer of a future where she could be free from the burden of her odor and embraced for who she truly was. As Kemi and Olamide stepped out of the house, the festive atmosphere of the village celebration was abruptly disrupted. The villagers, who had been dancing and enjoying the night, began to react to the strong odor that accompanied Kemi. Many of them pinched their noses with their fingers, while others took several steps back, whispering among themselves. Some even ran away, unable to tolerate the smell. Despite the reactions around them, Olamide held Kemi's hand firmly, providing her with the courage she needed to walk through the crowd. He kept his gaze forward, determined to lead her to a place where she could find healing and acceptance. "Let's go, Kemi," he whispered softly, reassuring her with his steady presence. They left the village behind and entered the dense forest that lay between Kemi's home and Olamide's. The journey was long and arduous, the path winding through thick undergrowth and towering trees. The sounds of the forest, chirping insects, rustling leaves, and distant animal calls created an eerie yet tranquil atmosphere. Olamide, ever the protector, guided Kemi with care, helping her navigate the uneven terrain. They walked for hours, stopping only briefly to rest and drink from a stream that flowed through the forest. Despite the physical strain and the weight of uncertainty, Kemi felt a sense of peace and hope growing within her. With Olamide by her side, the future seemed less daunting. As dawn began to break, casting a golden hue over the forest, they finally reached the outskirts of Olamide's village. The small, close-knit community was still waking up, the smoke from early morning fires rising into the crisp air. Olamide's home stood at the edge of the village, a modest but welcoming dwelling surrounded by a lush garden. Olamide's mother, Mama Abi, stood at the doorway, her wise eyes scanning the path as if she had been expecting them. She was a woman of great knowledge and compassion, known for her healing abilities and her kind heart. When she saw Olamide and Kemi approaching, she smiled warmly and stepped forward to greet them. "Olamide, my son," she called out, her voice filled with love and curiosity, "who have you brought with you?" Olamide approached his mother, still holding Kemi's hand. "Mama, this is Kemi. She is the daughter of Adebeo from the neighboring village. She needs your help, Mama. She has been suffering because of a condition that no one has been able to cure." Mama Abi looked at Kemi with a compassionate gaze, taking in the tiredness and the glimmer of hope in her eyes. "Welcome, Kemi," she said warmly, reaching out to embrace her. "You are safe here. We will do everything we can to help you." Kemi felt tears of gratitude well up in her eyes as she stepped into Mama Abi's embrace. For the first time in a long while, she felt truly welcome and accepted. Olamide stood beside them, his heart swelling with hope and love for the woman he cared so deeply about. As they entered the house, Mama Abi guided Kemi to a comfortable seat, already planning the treatments and remedies she would try. In the days that followed, Mama Abi began Kemi's treatment with a variety of traditional herbs and remedies. She gathered leaves from various trees, roots, and flowers from her lush garden and the surrounding forest. Each morning, she prepared potent herbal drinks, boiling the leaves and roots until their essence was fully extracted. "Kemi, drink this," Mama Abi instructed gently, handing her a steaming cup of dark green liquid. "These herbs will cleanse your body from within and help rid you of the odor." Kemi, though hesitant at first, trusted Mama Abi's expertise and drank the bitter concoctions. The treatments were rigorous. In addition to the herbal drinks, Kemi was given baths infused with fragrant oils and leaves known for their purifying properties. Mama Abi also prepared special meals for her, filled with nutritious ingredients to strengthen her body and spirit. As the days passed, Kemi began to notice changes. The strong odor that had been her constant companion for so long started to fade. Her body felt lighter, and she began to lose the excess weight that had burdened her. Mama Abi's treatments were working, and with each passing day, Kemi felt more like herself again. Olamide was always by her side, offering support and encouragement. "You're doing great, Kemi," he would say, smiling warmly. "I can already see the difference. You're becoming healthier and stronger." By the fourth day, the transformation was remarkable. Kemi's odor had almost completely disappeared, and she had shed a significant amount of weight. She felt revitalized, her skin glowing and her spirit lifted. The burden of her condition had been replaced with a newfound sense of hope and confidence. Kemi's return to the village had brought her not only relief but a newfound confidence. As her health and beauty were restored, she became the subject of admiration and interest from many young men, both within the village and from neighboring areas. Among them was Olamide, who had been instrumental in her recovery and had hoped to win her heart. However, Kemi's experience had changed her in profound ways. While she appreciated Olamide's role in her transformation and held deep gratitude for him, she felt a need to explore her options and find the one who truly matched her newfound strength and spirit. When Olamide visited her, expressing his feelings and hoping to start a relationship, Kemi, though gently, turned him down. "Olamide," she said softly, looking into his eyes, "I will always be grateful to you for what you have done for me. You have a special place in my heart, but I need to find the person who truly resonates with me now that I have changed. I hope you understand." Olamide, though heartbroken, nodded understandingly. "I understand, Kemi. I just want you to be happy. If this is what you need to do, then I respect your decision." Word of Kemi's decision quickly spread through the village, then soon, suitors from different areas began arriving, hoping to win her favor. Inspired by tales of warriors and ancient traditions, Kemi decided to organize a contest, a test of strength, skill, and bravery. She announced that the suitor who emerged victorious would win her hand in marriage. The day of the contest arrived, and the village was abuzz with excitement. The fighting ground was set up in a large, open field, and villagers gathered to watch the spectacle. Kemi stood by, observing with a discerning eye, her heart pounding with anticipation. She wanted a partner who was not only strong but also resilient and honorable. Suitors from various regions, each boasting unique skills and strengths, lined up to participate in the contest. Some were skilled warriors, others were known for their intelligence and strategic minds. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as the contest began. The first round involved tests of physical strength, lifting heavy weights, wrestling, and showing prowess in traditional martial arts. The strongest and most skilled suitors advanced to the next round, which tested their agility and endurance through a series of obstacle courses and races. As the contest progressed, the suitors showcased their abilities with impressive feats. Kemi watched intently, evaluating not just their physical capabilities but also their character and how they handled challenges. Among the contestants was Adewale, a skilled warrior from a distant village who fought with grace and honor. His quiet confidence and determined spirit caught Kemi's attention. She watched as he advanced through each round, his determination unwavering. By midday, the fighting ground was filled with the sounds of clashing weapons, grunts of exertion, and the cheers of the onlookers. The final round involved one-on-one combat, where the remaining suitors faced off in a series of duels. Each combatant fought valiantly, showcasing not only their physical prowess but also their strategic minds and courage. Kemi's eyes were drawn to Adewale as he continued to demonstrate his skill and honor. She was impressed by his strength and his respectful demeanor, which stood out among the other suitors. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the fighting ground, the final duel commenced. Adewale faced a formidable opponent, both men determined to win Kemi's hand. The villagers watched in hushed anticipation as the two warriors clashed, their skills and determination put to the ultimate test. Kemi stood at the edge of the fighting ground, her heart racing. She knew that the outcome of this duel would determine her future, and she felt a mix of excitement and apprehension as the contest reached its climax. With every strike and counter, Adewale demonstrated not only his physical prowess but also his strategic mind and honorable spirit. As the duel progressed, it became clear that Adewale's experience and determination were unmatched. Finally, with a swift and decisive move, Adewale emerged victorious. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Kemi felt a surge of admiration and excitement. She approached Adewale, her heart full of hope and respect for the warrior who had proven himself worthy. "Adewale," Kemi said, her voice steady and filled with emotion, "you have shown great strength, skill, and honor. I would be honored to have you by my side." Adewale bowed respectfully, his eyes reflecting his deep respect for Kemi. "Thank you, Kemi. I am honored to have won your heart." Just as the villagers' cheers filled the air and Kemi stood beside Adewale, a familiar, dreaded sensation crept over her. She felt a chill down her spine as the bad odor, which she thought had been vanquished, began to emanate from her once again. The reaction was immediate. The villagers, who had been celebrating moments before, began to gag and cover their noses. The once festive atmosphere turned into chaos as people started running away, desperate to escape the overwhelming stench. Adewale, the victorious suitor who had just pledged his respect and admiration, looked at Kemi with wide eyes. He hesitated for a moment, but then the order became too much for him to bear. He covered his nose with his arm and, with a regretful glance, turned and ran, following the other fleeing villagers. Kemi's heart shattered as she watched him disappear into the crowd. The shame and despair she had fought so hard to overcome crashed over her like a tidal wave. Overwhelmed, she fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face, her body racked with sobs. She could hear the whispers of the villagers as they retreated, their harsh words cutting into her like knives. "She's cursed," some said. "It was a mistake to let her return," others muttered. Kemi felt utterly alone, rejected once more by the people she had hoped to be part of. Just when she thought she couldn't bear the shame any longer, she heard a familiar, steady voice calling her name. "Kemi! Kemi!" Through her tears, she saw Olamide approaching, his face filled with concern and determination. Unlike the others, he didn't cover his nose or shy away. He knelt beside her, his eyes filled with compassion. "Kemi," he said softly, lifting her chin so she could meet his gaze. "Don't carry this burden alone. You are more than this odor. You are strong, kind, and beautiful. I still love you, Kemi." Kemi looked at Olamide, her tears blurring her vision. "But why, Olamide? Why would you stay when everyone else runs away?" Olamide took her hands in his touch warm and reassuring. "Because I see you for who you truly are. This order does not define you. We will find a solution together, just as we did before. You are not alone." Kemi's heart ached with gratitude and love for Olamide. His unwavering support and acceptance gave her the strength to stand once more. With Olamide by her side, she felt a glimmer of hope rekindle within her. "Thank you, Olamide," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "I don't know what I would do without you." He smiled warmly, helping her to her feet. "You don't have to find out. We'll face this challenge together as we always have."